it's Kevin Blow here, and I'm just giving you a little bit of more guidance on your final project. This is one of the sample exercises that I handed out in your project handout. As you can see, this is the chorale sketch, and this is a sketch for the chorale, for the melody. Remember, you have to have a melody instrument and an accompanimental instrument, piano. Okay, and just as a reminder, this is a chorale in four-voice chorale style, but how to turn that into a piano? Well, I wrote most of this in close position so that all three notes often fit in an octave here, you see. But occasionally it's open position here. Notice that this is a 10th, this is a 9th, and that's a 10th, and this is an 11th here. So this is a little bit wide, right, for keyboard to put three notes in the right hand. So what I did, if you look down here, is this B that was in the tenor, I moved up an octave. So now all these three notes fit together. This B, I also moved up an octave. There it is, okay? And then this B and this A sharp are up an octave here. So now everything fits into one octave. So just remember that you can move your tenor up an octave. Sometimes that will work to get all three notes in the right hand. The other thing to do is, of course, move the soprano down an octave. Sometimes that works as well. Now, to get this into a piano texture, notice I wanted to have some strong octaves here in my left hand. So this is not, required, but if you so I wanted that to be kind of a strong bass line. So notice how I lowered this whole bass part by an octave here and doubled it up an octave. So that made kind of a rolling kind of thunder bass line here. So, not necessary, but remember that if you do double up those octaves, you'll get a very rich sound, and you could go in the low octave and play these arpeggios. That could be one way to handle your accompaniment. Okay, so notice that there's hardly any figuration in the right hand, right? It's just a few quarter notes, but mainly the left hand is what is doing the arpeggio. And that, that depends case by case basis, project by project, what you're going to do. Okay, so I wanted to focus, because now you guys will be writing your melody, so let's focus a little bit on the melody here. This is the melody sketch. And as you can see, the melody sketch has a chord tone on every single chord. So this will give us tones that we know will work with the harmony, because they are part of the chord, right? But how are we going to... But notice I have some leaps here, and that's fine to have some leaps in the melody, okay? You might even have some larger ones than I have in this case, okay? So let's now take a look at how I got this melody from the melodic sketch, all right? So notice that we're in the bass clef. So this is a D, F sharp, B. This is D, F sharp, and B. But how I've got there is, okay, put a passing tone between these two chord tones, right? On a weak beat, usually. Okay, now what about this A sharp? Well, this is an arpeggiation of the F sharp 7 chord, right? So F sharp goes to A sharp. So I'm leaping up to another chord tone. When you're leaping, it's best to leap from one chord tone to the other chord tone. And then, now it goes up by step, okay? Now, the next note is D sharp, and here's my D sharp. But what did I do to create some rhythm and some melodic interest? I went from D sharp, passing tone, to B, another chord tone, leaping back to the D sharp, and then going on to the E. Okay? Now when I've got this E here, instead of just going E, E, I leap down to another chord tone, up to another chord tone, so E, B, G, passing tone, F sharp, and then to E. So that kind of decorates the melody a little bit, makes it more interesting. Okay, here's a D and a C sharp, so I just kept those. But then, again, to create some rhythmic interest and some melodic interest, C, F sharp, arpeggiate tones of the chord, F sharp major, C sharp, F sharp, and then up to G, okay? Now instead of having this line here, I decided to leap to another chord tone. So forget about the sketch for a minute and just leap from this G all the way to B, which is another lower chord tone, and then 2 or more arpeggiations. Then come to my E, and then go down again. Forget about the C sharp, go down to another note in the chord. B and C sharp are also chord tones of this chord. Okay? If you take a look, rewind this and look carefully, these are all tones of the chord. And then I go up to D, which was not in the original sketch, but I fill that in with a passing tone to B, another chord tone. So chord tone, D, chord tone, B, chord tone, fill it in with a passing tone, and then do our little suspension here, B, A, sharp, and back to B. So instead of just, this is what I'm playing is this version now. And what that turns into is okay, so that would be the resulting melody that comes from the sketch. So just a reminder to, when you're leaping, that it's best to leap to a chord tone, from a chord tone to a chord tone, unless you want to put in an appoggiatura. And there are other examples of appoggiaturas that you could look at for that. Okay, so I hope this has been helpful just to see how you can take your melodic sketch with all chord tones and then add some non-chord tones and some arpeggiations and some staccatos and accents and things like that, and you'll create a nice melodic content. Let's see how it sounds. Hopefully this will, let's see. Yep. Let's see how this sounds. Okay, so this is a double bass melody. If you play the double bass, you can write for double bass, but you can write for any other instrument as well. All right, good luck. Let's see, stop this thing.